Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to DiscussionVerse. Today I'm breaking down why movies are more important now than ever. And I don't just mean for entertainment. I mean the way they hold up a mirror to our world, to the corruption, the division, and the chaos we're all seeing, especially here in the United States. These films don't just distract us, they challenge us, they warn us, and sometimes they even give us hope when it feels like there's none left, and remind us of what's worth holding on to. If we want to understand where we're going, the stories we tell, and more specifically watch, are more important now than ever. Though before I fully dive in, this is your friendly reminder to smash that like button and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I need everyone's support more than ever now to get the channel to 1,000 subscribers, so once you do, you better hit that notification bell to never miss a new video. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. Let's take Star Wars for example. It's never just been about Jedi and lightsabers. At its core, it's about empires, rebellions, and ordinary people standing up to corruption and tyranny. Back in the 70s, that message hit hard after Watergate, and in 2025, with so many Americans questioning whether democracy is even holding together, it feels just as urgent. And that's why something like Andor has hit so deeply. It strips away the myth and shows the ground level reality of oppression, what it actually costs to resist, and how messy and dangerous rebellion really is. It's not glossy, it's raw. And in a time where so many people feel powerless against corruption or injustice, Andor resonates because it reminds us that change doesn't start with heroes swinging lightsabers. It starts with ordinary people making impossible choices. We can also consider Lord of the Rings as beyond the fantasy. It's about temptation, corruption, and the courage of everyday people. The ring itself is a perfect symbol for how power can poison even the best intentions. What makes it timeless is that the smallest characters, the ones with no armies, no status, are the ones who carry the heaviest burdens and ultimately make the difference. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest voices can fight the darkest forces, a theme that still feels urgent in a world where corruption often seems untouchable. Then there's V for Vendetta. That movie has practically become shorthand for resistance, but it's also a severe warning, as it shows how fear and propaganda can keep people obedient while freedom slips away. And rewatching it now, it doesn't feel like dystopian fiction. It feels like a warning label we simply ignored. With misinformation, political manipulation, and leaders trying to control the narrative, it's all too eerily familiar. And maybe that's why the Guy Fawkes mask is still a global symbol, because the story hasn't ended. If anything, it's only gotten louder. And we also see excellent mirroring of this with Children of Men, as it might hit the hardest of all. It focuses on a society collapsing because there's no future generation, no hope, so everything just decays into chaos. Governments can turn cruel, compassion vanishes, people get scapegoated. That story speaks directly to today and where we're at now. We are still fighting over immigration, over human rights, over whether future generations will inherit something better or something worse. Watching that film now, it feels less like fiction and more like a mirror of reality, one that forces us to ask, if hope disappears, what's left of humanity? We then also have films like Snowpiercer, which focuses on a train divided by class, the poor crushed into the back while the wealthy live in excess at the front. It's extreme, but it's also the perfect metaphor for how inequality works. Rising housing costs, healthcare struggles, the gap between the rich and everyone else widening year after year. That train doesn't feel so distant anymore. You see the same themes in a film like Parasite, which digs into class division in a way that's funny, heartbreaking, and also brutally scary. Both movies show how entire groups can be crushed under a system that pretends hierarchy is natural. Even films like Mad Max Fury Road feel more resonant than ever, as on the surface it's post-apocalyptic madness, but really it's a story about scarcity, about resource collapse, and about how power is wielded by the few at the expense of many. You see that in climate disasters, in water crisis, and how leaders delay action while people bear the brunt. The truth is, these aren't just distant stories, they're reflections of what we're living in right now. In the United States specifically, corruption and greed dominate headlines. Trust in government is fractured, inequality widens year after year, and the climate threats are growing, while freedoms that once felt guaranteed suddenly feel fragile. This allows these movies and TV shows to resonate with the world because art really does mirror life, and life is giving us plenty to reflect on. What happens in the world has ripple effects across the globe, and cinema captures that cycle. It doesn't even stop here, as films like The Matrix exposed how systems control us while distracting us with illusions. Black Panther opened conversations about identity, history, and what leadership means in a fractured world. Other TV shows like The Handmaid's Tale is practically a warning siren about authoritarian control over people's lives. Chernobyl showed the devastating consequences where truth is buried under lies. And even the Disney movie WALL-E, yes, an animated film, critiques overconsumption, corporate control, and environmental collapse. Every one of these stories cuts deeper than spectacle. They're cultural alarm bells, and maybe now in 2025 we need these alarms more than ever. And if we're paying attention, corruption, they're giving us the language to resist, to question, and to imagine better futures. And while it feels like cinema often reflects the darker aspects of our world, like corruption, inequality, chaos, we still have films that remind us otherwise. Stories that show courage, integrity, and hope even in the face of overwhelming odds. Take 2025 Superman, for example. The film hammer homes the idea that someone still can stand for truth even when the rest of the world feels like it's unraveling. And that's what makes Superman more than a hero. He's a pure symbol, a reminder that even when systems fail, even when corruption and chaos seem unstoppable, we still have hope. And we really see that hope reflected across so many films. From Star Wars or the Star Wars show Andor, ordinary people rise up to fight empires, showing that courage and moral choice can defy overwhelming power. The Lord of the Rings reminds us that even the smallest voices can resist darkness. Films like V for Vendetta demonstrate that standing up against fear and propaganda is never easy, but it's necessary. Children of Men and Snowpiercer show worlds on the brink, yet individuals still make the choices that can spark change. Beyond that, we have films like Braveheart and Gladiator, reminding us that one person's courage can ignite rebellion against tyranny. The Dark Knight and even Batman Begins explore moral integrity in corrupt systems, proving that heroes don't just need superpowers to inspire hope. Rogue One and Serenity also show that sometimes the greatest acts of bravery come from the most ordinary people taking extraordinary risks. These stories remind us that hope isn't passive, and it's not waiting for someone else to fix the world. It's choosing to act, to stand up, and to believe that decency, courage, and justice still matter. That's why movies are more important than ever, as they don't just show us darkness, they show us the sparks of light, the moments of resistance, and the possibility that even in the darkest times, change is still very possible. It's clear that these movies aren't just about escapism, they're blueprints, warnings, and sometimes they're survival guides. And in a country wrestling with corruption, inequality, division, etc., cinema gives us the courage to confront those realities and the hope to believe that we can actually change them. That's why I'll keep saying it. Movies are more important now than ever, because if we stop paying attention to these stories, we risk losing the lessons that they're trying to teach us. With that being said, that does wrap up my thoughts for this video, but I want to know what you guys think. Which movies or TV shows do you feel like speak most to the current state of the world? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. And of course, this is your friendly reminder to smash that like button. And if you enjoyed this video or others, hit subscribe and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. Until the next video, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.